You know, I was saying to you just a moment, it makes me curious about people who are in your profession. What makes you become a sex researcher? And we've had other sex therapists on this show, and they always appear to be very therapeutic when talking about sex and compatibility and things like that. Almost asexual. You know, not asexual, but almost asexual. You're very therapeutic. What got you into this?
Perhaps it sounds that way if you give technical answers, but to really answer the center of your question, I think the reason people become psychologists or psychiatrists or sex researchers is that they start out with all sorts of questions about themselves and often problems about themselves. They might get miles from this in their work later on, but I think there's a reason for our going into the professions that we go into.
Was that your reason? Just to discover things about your own sexual self?
Discover things about myself and what I see and problems that come up and that I see friends have as well as my own.
We have some viewers that have some questions and problems that they'd like to discuss with you. Good morning, you're on Channel 13's People Are Talking with Dr. C.A. Tripp.
Yes, good morning. I'd like to direct a question to the doctor. My boyfriend and I, our sex life is really fantastic, but that seems to be the only thing that we're compatible in. I'm wondering about the other 23 hours in the day. I'm also wondering if this is enough to base the relationship on and keep it going.
Most people find it quite frustrating if they're just happy in one place or the other, be it living room or bedroom. I know exactly what you mean when you denote a certain kind of frustration that you have there. On the other hand, people who have the very best sexual relationships often do have problems with compatibility. I hope you won't ask me the question of how you divide it up so it's 25-75 instead of 100-0. That's an individual matter, and I really couldn't answer that. But it will be helpful to you if you understand the connection between not having too much contact in the living room and that very high voltage in the bedroom. There is a connection.
How do you make that connection, though? How do you really understand that and then apply it to your own self?
Perhaps it's easier to understand if you look at the reverse, where people are fascinated with each other when they first meet and don't quite know each other. And as they work out their compatibility and get closer and closer in the living room, so to speak, they have less zest for each other. A smooth compatibility is not something that zest feeds on. Zest is put to sleep by the music of high accord.
What about the last part of our question? Is that enough to base a relationship on? Say if you want to marry a person,
it will certainly be frustrating. I would be very cautious about that and try to spread it out.
All right, thank you very much for your call.
Good morning. Your question, please, for Tripp.
Yes, I really don't have a question. I'd like to say, really, that I disagree very much with Dr. Tripp.
Good. Which part?
Excuse me?
Which part?
Well, my husband and I have been married for 9 years now, and I was always brought up to believe that I should work very hard at getting along with him, and he feels the same way. And we have worked extremely hard at it, and we get along just famously. And I know that what you would now say is, it must not be great in the bedroom. But I'll tell you something, it's fireworks in the bedroom. We've been married for 9 years. When he walks through the door, I'm more excited than I was the first day he walked through the door.
Well, we're all very happy for you. But please don't leave the impression with other people that this is something that's automatic and easy to achieve. I suspect...
I'm not saying it's automatic. I'm saying we work very hard at it.
I suspect that's where you put the resistance. That you work hard at it, you think about it, you are dealing with the problems all the time. If you like to do that, if you like to wrestle with that particular bear, then it will, apparently does work for you.
Well, it just works tremendously, and
but it's
I'll say this, I don't say we never argue, but I say that through the years we've argued less and less, but the one thing that I appreciate more, I don't fantasize in the bedroom. I appreciate having a man that is loving with me in every area of our lives. being with me in the bedroom. That's what I want. I don't want somebody that I have to constantly be, you know, having friction with in order to enjoy the bedroom.
Most people
I really, quite frankly, could not enjoy it.
Most people do fantasize, and most people do change partners in fantasy. And most people do add a zip and all kinds of violational material to their fantasy.
So that caller is more or less atypical then?
Yes, and it would be absolutely remarkable if she's correct about having no fantasies, if he had no fantasies. Would be,
well, I guess we'll never really know that.
This is the thing that makes me distrustful of this is I don't want to say anything specifically against that relationship, but there's very much in our society that says, hold that posture. There is such a thing as a perfect relationship, and if you just can find the right partner, you've got it made, and all you have to do is work on a few edges and keep it in place.
But perfection is defined by your own terms. What is perfect for her may not be perfect for somebody else. So if in her terms, if it's perfect, then it's perfect.
Fireworks, you know, you can't knock fireworks. Good morning. You're on Channel 13's People Are Talking.
Yes. I have a question for the guest. My husband and I are very compatible everywhere except the bedroom. I have spoken with him about this, you know, the way I feel, and nothing has changed. I'd like to know what I have tried communicating. What can I do to change his attitude in the bedroom?
That's a very hard question. I don't know what to say to you because
but that's exactly what you're talking about here.
Yes, but there are several things I don't know. For instance, she didn't say anything about whether it used to be better in the bedroom.
Did it used to be better in the bedroom?
Yes, it was.
Then,
it's been like this in the past 2 years.
Then what's happening is the standard thing, where the compatibility and the conventional understanding of each other is going up. Your living room is probably getting even better, and you're running troubles with fatigue in the bedroom.
So what do you recommend, doctor, for this person?
The main thing I recommend is to try to understand that this is a natural consequence of getting very close. And unless you manage to, as I say, get out of bed right and in new ways. You know, Maribel Morgan has many things to say about this. I like her very much, her whole posture. Not because she suggests that people reseduce their mate or something like that, but she brings surprise into the relationship. When she jokingly says, meet your husband at the door with a bunny costume on, this is not entirely a joke. This is borrowing symbols from outrage and from unpredictability and from surprise.
Thank you very much for your call.
A lot of women don't want to get into playing those kinds of games. A lot of women think and it really is somewhat a game to meet your husband at the door, as Maribel Morgan says, wrapped in saran wrap. I mean, who wants to you're smiling, play those kinds of games?
Well,
what if you don't want to play them?
I'm just trying to imagine my wife at the door in saran wrap, that's all, you know.
I would, to see her in saran wrap would be a new thrill, and let's don't put it down. But,
Annabelle, if you're watching, get the handy wrap out, I'll be home about 6.
Now you got me off the track. I forgot. I was going to get
what
you a
Oprah
priceless answer.
Okay. Well, let's getting back on the track.
No. She said about games. That's very serious.
I thought it was a good question.
I want to point out that everything in life that's worth anything, that has any subtlety and any value, requires manipulation and management. If you have an important job, you have to manage that job. You have to pay attention to what the boss thinks and how you look on particular days and so on. You don't just leave that to spontaneous accident. And everywhere in life, everything that's of any value at all, you have to manage. And the notion that, something is important as a personal relationship, well, you just let the chips fall where they may, do what comes naturally. This is like a blind driver, and it's very dangerous.
Okay, we'll be back. More of your phone calls after People to Trading. Be right back.